Iran, which the whole world considers to be a villain, which is the most controversial country in the world. Actually, it is a victim, misunderstood, and it has always been cheated by the West. You don't believe it? Even I didn't believe it. But when I explained the backstory of Iran, I understood how Iran was systematically made a villain. In today's video, we will understand an origin story. How was today's Iran before? We will understand the 4 great heroes of the last century of Iran. And in the end, we will ask an important question. Who is the real villain? The video is quite interesting, and some of you can definitely change your opinion. If you are close-minded, then I have a request. Stop watching this video right now. But if you are one of those people who have an open mind and want to understand the story of Iran, then do watch this video till the end. Let's understand the whole story of Iran. Let's start the video. To make it easier for you to understand, I have divided the whole story of Iran into 4 eras. We will understand these 4 eras one by one. One thing in Washington has been repeated for the past 100 years. Whoever controls Iran controls the energy lifeline of the future. Iran is strategically important. Because Iran is close to Russia, the Soviet Union of that time, Middle East can be watched from Iran. And Iran connects the rest of Asia with the Middle East. Plus Iran has oil. And this oil, which became a boon for the rest of the Middle East, was a curse for Iran because of a wrong contract, which is called Darcy Concession. This is where Iran's first era begins. It's the era of British control. In May 1901, British entrepreneur William Knox Darcy signed a contract with the Shah of Iran, which is called Darcy Concession. Darcy Concession says that whatever oil is available in Iran, it will be an exclusive right to extract only and only with Britain. The British Empire had made Iran their personal petrol pump since 1900. Basically, just like the East India Company sucked India's blood, similarly, the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company sucked Iran's oil. Have you seen the movie Lagan? In that movie, the British had to pay taxes to the farmers. Similarly, the Shah of Iran had taken a lot of loans from Europe, which was being repaid with oil money. So, it wasn't the mistake of the people of Iran, it was the mistake of the Shah, who was being repaid by the people. In 1908, a huge oil field was found in the Mosque of Suleiman in Iran. But even after getting oil, the fate of Iran didn't open up, because whatever money Iran was earning by selling oil, the majority of that money was used to pay Europe's loan. In the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, the British made a lot of money. Listen to this example. This is from 1931. The profits of this company were £366 at that time, but they had paid a tax of £1 million, meaning they were paying more taxes than profits. And who were they? The British. The British were taking more taxes than profits. Pause for a second and think, isn't this the same tax story? There is a conflict in the world and the British are not involved in it. How is this possible? Oil belonged to Iran, but the profits didn't belong to Iran. How is that fair? The game of the British had just begun. The people of Iran kept watching how their own oil was going out of their own country. All the development was being done by the British. There was no development in Iran. It was loot. It was exploitation. The resources belonged to Iran, but the profits belonged to the British. Binod is watching how a villain is being made. He is being squeezed to such an extent that he can never trust anyone else. How did you like the story so far? Have you heard this story somewhere else? If not, then subscribe to this channel, because we will keep bringing such interesting stories for you. We don't just want to give you news, we want to give you a perspective, a balanced perspective, an Indio-first perspective. The term of Darcy Concession was 60 years. This means that this contract was going to end in 1961. But till then, Iran's oil wasn't over. This means that the British wanted to loot more of Iran. So, the British wanted to make a new contract. Now, it was the turn of the new contract. But till then, the people of Iran were becoming smart. Now, the second era of Iran was about to begin. The second era of Iran was the era of Mohammad Mosaddegh. Mohammad Mosaddegh became the Prime Minister of Iran in 1951, and he challenged the Darcy Agreement in the International Court of Justice. He asked a very simple question. If Iran has the most oil in the world, then why is Iran so poor? He said that Iran's oil is Iran's natural resource, and this contract is an exploitative contract. The oil contract was made by trapping Iran. Iran should have the right over Iran's oil. And the ICJ even said that we don't have a jurisdiction over it. This means that this decision should be taken by Iran's parliament. What happened was that Iran nationalized its oil. From here, Iran's future could have changed. Just like other countries in the Middle East developed because of their oil, Iran could have been like that. But here the ego of the British was hurt. Then what happened was what always happens. Britain went to its big brother. The CIA made a coup in Iran. Google Operation Ajax. And you will understand how the CIA removed a democratically elected leader and made its puppet government in Iran. If you have noticed, then you must have known that in the 1940s and 1950s, democracy was brought to the new countries. Have you ever thought what was the reason for this? The reason was that the West thought that after bringing democracy, elected leaders through corruption could be controlled. But Mohammad Mosaddegh was not ready to accept this. He was not ready to be corrupt. He was not ready to sell Iran's national interests for money. And that's why the CIA made a coup in Iran. Whenever you hear about regime change in Iran, the story always starts from 1979. No one tells you the story of 1953. The truth is that not once, but repeatedly, the regime has changed in Iran. And the story of every regime change is equally interesting. Because if you hear the story of 1953, then the West will become a villain. America will become a villain. CIA will become a villain. And geopolitics optics are very important. If you want to know more about this, then there is a documentary called Coup 53. You can definitely watch it. Mohammad Mosaddegh went to jail, and complete control was in the hands of Shah of Iran. And this is where Iran's third era begins. Shah's rule. This guy was America's friend. Shah's education was in Europe. He had become completely westernized in his thoughts and lifestyle. He brought American style of living to Iran. That is, the complete Western freedom that we see in such videos. One good thing about this era was that women got a lot of freedom. They got the right to education. They could drive. They could wear bikinis and go swimming anywhere, as if Iran was slowly becoming Europe, and not just in Iran, ever. The Shah used to travel to any Gulf country. He used to become America's ambassador. People also used to see how Iran was developing, how Iran is moving forward with the help of America. At that time, all the other Gulf countries were not developed at all like today. Iran's Shah was convincing everyone to become his puppet. You will also develop. At that time, King Faisal of Saudi Arabia gave a warning to Shah, which is very important. It means that the King of Saudi Arabia tried to warn Shah not to forget that no matter how modern you become, your population is not that modern. Your population is not going to accept your modern thoughts. Shah made the same mistake. Shah tried to bring a lot of modernization very fast. Now it is possible that Shah's intentions were good, but Shah did not understand the ground reality. Even during Shah's time, there was a lot of corruption. Shah had his own police. The police used to suppress all the dissenters. And in the society, there were negative feelings against Shah. What do you think? Was Shah's approach to modernize Iran right or not? Let's discuss in the comments. Now let's start with Iran's fourth era, Islamic Revolution. Enter Ayatollah Khomeini. Where Shah used to rule from his palace, Khomeini had become the people's favorite. He used to live among people and talk to people. He had become the people's favorite leader. People could relate to him, and he brought an alternate version of Iran in front of people. Anti-West, anti-imperial, morally pure. Because of these thoughts, Khomeini had to spend 14 years in exile. Khomeini spent 14 years in exile outside Iran, because of which, naturally, the sympathy of the people of Iran was with him. He never called Shah a dictator. Never called Shah a dictator. He called Shah an un-Islamic, said that Shah was destroying the identity of Iran. Now, the people believed this to be true. In 1978, Shah made a big mistake. One of his newspapers called Khomeini a traitor, and people took to the streets. Things were getting out of control. At that time, Shah asked for Washington's help. But at that time, Washington was hesitating, because America had already lost to a small country like Vietnam. America did not want to take any risk to become a villain in the eyes of the world. That's why America did not support Shah. And the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran. And whether history repeats itself or not, America always repeats itself. Even now, when the Middle East countries, the allies of the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, need America? Where is America? Where is America defending them? The leadership of Saudi Arabia also says that America has completely abandoned us. Henry Kissinger's line is remembered. To be an enemy of America is dangerous, but to be a friend is lethal, because you can never trust America. That when you need it, they will come to help you. They did not help Shah, and now they are not helping Saudi Arabia at all. This is a lesson for countries like India. Who should make how many friends? Let's move on to the story. In January 1979, Shah went out of Iran on the pretext of taking a vacation. But the truth is that Shah knew that his time was over. On February 11, 1979, Shah's regime collapsed. In the month of March, the public was asked what kind of government Iran should make. So 98.2% people said that Iran should become an Islamic Republic. Here it is important to understand that Khomeini did not live alone. There were all kinds of people who were frustrated with Shah. Shah was America's puppet. He kept an eye on people with his secret police. Salwak tortured the protesters. That's why 98.2% people who were of different ideologies, they wanted any kind of change. They thought anything is better than Shah's regime. And on April 1st, 1979, Khomeini became the supreme leader. When the Islamic Revolution was successful, Iran not only changed its government, Iran also changed its identity. Iran became a theocratic state from a monarchy. A religion was at the top. Iran did not want to become a cheap copy of Europe. The transition from dictatorship to republic was just a small phase. But Khomeini took power in his own hands, rewrote the constitution. Laws, elections, culture, all these things fell into the hands of a few people who were slaves to their ideology. Iran's real struggle started after the monarchy. The Iranian Revolution was successful because 98% people were angry with Shah. But not everyone was a fan of Khomeini. Some people in Iran were liberals, some were journalists, some were college students who were upset with America. In short, everyone had different reasons. Controlling them became Khomeini's priority. And that's why a new concept was brought into Iran in the new constitution. The Guardian Council. This Guardian Council had 3 special powers. 1. The veto power to overturn any bill passed in Parliament. 2. Supervision of elections. 3. The power to approve or disqualify a candidate in every election. The elected leaders had to work under religious supervision. The country was important, but religion was above the country. If any law went against Islam's doctrine, it would be reversed. Opposing the system, i.e., opposing a law, was the norm. Questioning the authority, i.e., supporting America and Shah, was the norm. And because of this, Iran's situation under Shah got worse. In 1989, Ayatollah Khomeini died. People thought that Iran would be in chaos again, but it didn't happen because of Iran's second supreme leader. Assembly of experts took a controversial decision, the decision to make Ali Khomeini the supreme leader. This decision was controversial because Khomeini was not the highest-ranking Shia cleric. In fact, in 2017 his video emerged where he himself said, "I am not qualified to be a supreme leader." At that time, the requirement of the Constitution of Iran was that the supreme leader should be a Maria. But later, the requirement was removed due to changes in the Constitution. Why was Ali Khomeini such a controversial leader? There are 3 main reasons. First, Iran's nuclear program. Khomeini had understood that a country that is not nuclear will always be in danger. So, he started Iran's nuclear program. Iran said that it was only for energy. But the Western intelligence agencies suspected that Iran wanted to develop weapons secretly. They never got the final proof. But till the end, the West did not get any proof of weapons of mass destruction in Iran. Khomeini believed that America always wanted to increase pressure on Iran. If we give up nuclear energy, then America will ask us to release our missiles, and it will support all the protests in Iran, and it will turn the tables again in Iran. If we understand Iran's past, then this fear seems quite valid. Number 2, Iran's proxy network. Iran had created an axis of resistance. Hamas in Gaza, who attacked Israel, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Houthis in Yemen, were funded by Iran. That's why America called Iran a state sponsor of terror. Number 3, death to America. Khomeini gave Iran a slogan, "Death to America." Later, explaining the meaning of the slogan, he said that this slogan is not against normal American people. It is against those leaders who control America. In 2019, Khomeini specifically mentioned Trump, Bolton, and Pompeo. Iran's Quds force repeatedly targeted Israeli diplomats. In New Delhi, a sticky bomb was placed on an Israeli diplomat's car in 2012. Khomeini held a major protest in a 36-year rule, 1999, 2009, 2019, 2022, and 2025. Every protest was crushed by a brutal crackdown. In 2022, 348 people were killed in the Mesa Amini protest, including 50 children. In 2025 and 2026, more than 7,000 protesters were killed. It was the biggest massacre in Iran's modern history. Khomeini himself called the protesters rioters and said, "Put them in their place." But we also need to remember that America also has blood on its hands. Civilians were killed in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Yemen. So when America speaks for Iran's protesters, is it a genuine concern or just their agenda? This question remains. All these reasons make Iran America's enemy number one. We will explain all these things in our upcoming videos, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. So in summary, Iran's history is that we can see 4 different eras here. The first era was the British era, where Iran's oil was squeezed like a tax movie. Iran became a British colony. I think for a short period, Mosaddegh nationalized Iran's oil and won back control. Democracy came for a short period in Iran, but CIA arrested it through Operation Ajax. We have also explained Operation Ajax in our Deep State video. I would highly recommend that you watch it. Then comes the third era, Shah's era, where Iran was modernized, but again became a Western puppet. And lastly, the fourth era is the era after the Islamic Revolution, which is considered to be the worst era. If you notice, apart from the second era, Iran's situation got worse. Let's pause here and watch this video of Charlie Kirk. Even in Wikipedia, 1953, Iranian coup d'etat, aided by intelligence agencies of the UK and United States. Weird. Got it? So then we put the Shah back in, who was sick and unpopular, meaning he was actually suffering, physically sick. And we paved the way for the most radical elements of Islam for many decades. Charlie Kirk himself was a right-winger. But he still admitted that Iran was fine up to this point, and America gave birth to Iran's problem. So here my question is, who is actually the villain? Iran or America? Only thinks about their own interests, who wants to dominate the whole world, wants to spread their ideology all over the world. It is important to think about this. You need to understand this whole context. Only then you will know how Iran's future, i.e., Iran's fifth era, can be. Today, America knows that they have played the most important role in destroying Iran, and now they have to fix Iran. Who knows if America's actual intention is to fix or control Iran? Because Washington still believes that whoever controls Iran controls the energy lifeline of the future. That's why Iran is so important for America. That's why Iran is America's number one enemy. At the end of Iran's story, I want to ask you a few questions. At what point did Iran become a villain? During the Islamic Revolution of 1979? Or when the Shah started using his secret police? When Khomeini was sent to exile and made the hero of the people of Iran? Or when the Shah became a puppet to make good relations with America? When the CIA overthrew Mossadegh's democratic government? Or when the British stole Iran's oil with the Darcy Concession in 1901? Or in the 8th century? When the indigenous people of Iran were persecuted in Iran? Today, India has a thriving Parsi community. But very few people know that they originally came to India from Iran. They were expelled from their own country, and then they settled in India, because they knew that India is the only country where their religion will not be taken away from them. After understanding Iran's story, I realized that Iran has always been wronged. Iran was always on the wrong side of history, because history is always written by the hunter. Until the lion learns to write his own history, the entire history will glorify the hunter, and here the hunter is America. If Iran has made a mistake, then it is that they demanded their right, that we should have our right on our oil. There should not be a Western influence in our life. When this right was not properly received, then the Islamic Revolution took place. So it is worth thinking that if the British had given their right to Iran, then what would have been the future of the world? When Iran said that they will have their right on their oil, then how did the West destroy them? After listening to this story, it seems that America and the Western countries just want to control the world. It's just like they did in the 20th century. They have given independence to countries like India. They don't actually want India to take its decisions independently. That's why when we talked about nuclear energy, we were also sanctioned. Imagine if we were not a nuclear power, then America would have easily destroyed us by now. The CIA still interferes. This is a fact. How would India have been if we didn't have a space program? If we didn't have a nuclear program, maybe we would have been a puppet or the villains of the world. With this question, let's end this video. If you liked today's topic, then press that like button. Let's target 50 likes, because I'd love to take geopolitics to you in a simple language, like a story.